Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Lana Boulware is suing her son, 21-year-old Andre Pennington, for an unpaid loan and for adding himself to an insurance policy without her permission.
Order. All rise. It's case number 329 on the calendar, the matter of Boulware versus Pennington.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
Miss Boulware, this is your son. It is your claim that he owes you some money.
Yes, ma'am.
How old are you, Mr. Pennington?
21.
And until recently, you were living with your mom. Is
Yes,
that right?
ma'am.
You've always lived with your mom?
Yeah, when I was younger, it was half with my mom, half with my dad until I was about 15.
And then you moved in with your
And
mom?
I was only with my mom.
Do you work, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Who do you work for?
I work for a company called Saddle Point Final Expense Select
How long have you worked for them?
since May.
Before that?
Before that, I was a full-time student
Where?
at Hillsborough Community College.
Did you finish?
No, ma'am.
Why not?
Because when I moved out of my mom's house, I had, as of right now, I don't have much time to go to school.
Okay. You working full-time now?
Yes, ma'am, from like 10 to 8.
Got an apartment?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of work do you do with this limousine that you have?
Oh, the limo, I had it as a car. It was a cheap car. It was $1,300. Something was wrong with the Cadillac, so I needed a way to drive around.
Did you buy that car yourself?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, Miss Boulware, you want to tell me about this alleged loan that you made to your son? When was it and what was it for?
He owes me for car insurance. The loan.
I want you to listen to what my question.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I said, let us talk about this alleged loan. Tell me what it was for, when you made it, month and year.
I loaned him $600 in February before he went to Paris. And I also...
Just a second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You loaned him $600
Yes, ma'am.
before he went on vacation
Yes,
to
ma'am.
Paris. And who paid for the vacation? He did.
Andre did, correct.
He did.
Yes.
He did. And who was he going on vacation with?
He was going with Lena, his girlfriend.
And he had saved up enough money to buy the plane tickets and pay for a hotel.
Yes, he was kind of flying by the night.
Just a second. The answer is yes.
Yes.
You didn't pay for it.
Yes.
And tell me the circumstances surrounding this alleged loan.
He didn't have money. He was waiting on his money when they went to Paris. They just decided literally a week before this that they were going. Lena bought the tickets, their plane tickets, and he needed money for hotel
Don't
stay.
tell me what he needed. Tell
Okay.
me what he said to you, what you said to him.
Can I borrow money from you? We're going to Paris, and when I get my student loan, I'm going to pay you.
Okay. And you gave it to him in cash?
Yes, ma'am.
Show me where you took it out from.
Yes, ma'am. There's some there, and then some cash I already had on me.
When did you go to Paris, sir?
I went February 13th, the day before Valentine's Day.
How long were you away?
About a month and a half.
How'd you survive?
Airbnb. It was
Okay.
nice. It was a little scary when we got over there.
Did your girlfriend work?
Yeah, she works now.
Did you work then?
Actually, yeah, she did. She had 2 jobs then.
How much money did you have put away for this trip?
She probably had around, $2,000, and I had around $5,000
And where did you get the $5,000 from?
from school and saving up money from
What
her
school?
too. From Hillsborough Community College.
So you went to Hillsborough Community College and you took out, what, student loans?
Yeah, I had a student loan and a grant.
What kind of grant?
Pell Grant. Yeah, I was going to school while I went over to Europe. I was going to school online at that point, so I didn't have to be in class while I was going to Europe.
Oh, you think I'd buy that? That's ridiculous. That's
Sorry.
ridiculous.
I'm sorry.
If you're going to college, you don't take a month and a half off to go to Europe and use the money that the government gives you that you probably won't pay back if you have to pay it back. And a grant you don't have to pay back.
The grant paid for, my school stuff. The loan was for living expenses, but I was going to school while I was over in Europe. I was doing online classes.
Why can't you do online classes now, sir?
Because I work a lot more. I had time.
Did your mother give you any money when you went to Europe?
No, ma'am.
Didn't give you any? Even
No
didn't
money.
say to you, if you need some cash, I'll give you some cash?
Not $1.
Okay. Do you have any proof, Miss Boulware, from him or a witness that you loaned him any money?
At the time, she was not there, but she knows about it from me asking Andre.
Don't tell me what she knows. What else do you think he owes you money for?
Oh, he owes me money for his car insurance.
Starting when?
Starting from February 2016 till
It's not happening. I read your complaint. The complaint said you let him put insurance for one of his cars. Subsequent time, he got another car, and unbeknownst to you, he added that car to your insurance. You didn't look carefully at your statements every month. Carefully, you don't have to look so carefully, for over a year to tell that do you drive a car?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And who else do you cover on your insurance policy?
Nobody.
Just you and your son's
but
car.
We didn't have the same insurance. I had State Farm. I don't use my checking for anything. I use my checking just to deposit and for my rent. I have a credit card that I pay all my bills with. So Dre was paying his car insurance, which I did not say, and you can ask him, I never told him that I would pay. It's been since he's 17, he had a car. You have to work and pay for your own car insurance.
Good. Okay. Now you have a counterclaim, and your counterclaim really is almost as ridiculous as your mother's claim. Your claim is that she illegally evicted you from your house, and as a result of being illegal, you had a fight with her. Do you live together?
No, we do, yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you both work?
Yes, ma'am.
Pretty reasonable for 21. How old are you?
18.
18. Your parents happy about that?
Yeah.
That you're living together?
Yeah.
Really? All right. Terrific. That you and your mother had an argument. She called the police on you for something, and because she had an argument over money?
It wasn't an argument over money.
What was it an argument over?
Me and a petty argument. I don't even remember what it was. And then my mom come in between, and she, was pushing or putting her hands on me. So then she tried to act like she was gonna call. She was trying to kick me out of the house, and she was trying to act like she was gonna call the cops. Like, hey, I have Andre here. He needs to get out of my house. There's the address. Doing the whole fake routine, and I had no reason, to be afraid of the cops because I didn't do anything wrong. I was respectful.
You were mellow.
I was really mellow, and I didn't do anything, to cause any problems. So then when I seen her doing that, I was like, I'll actually, if you want to call the cops, you can do it on my phone right now because I have no, fear of the cops because I didn't do anything wrong. And I went and dialed 911, and on accident must have called them on my phone, and I went to hang up, and instantly, out of impulse, out of reaction, to protect herself from, I guess, me saying anything on what was happening that night, she grabs the phone out of my hand and tells the dispatcher when they come on, hey, my son, he won't get out of my house, he put his hands on me. And me, I'm sitting there like, I'm thinking, if you look at me, I'm obviously a lot bigger than my mom, but I didn't want any problems when the cops came. I was scared. I know how calm I was acting and how mellow I was acting, and how angry, she was. He tried to calm her down while I was trying to calm her down. He was standing between us.
She's theatrical.
A little.
Okay, listen to me. Just like she's not getting any money from me, because if my kid put together enough money to go to Europe, didn't ask me for any money, he was 21 years old or 20 years old, and he was going away, even though probably he was a little irresponsible, but you're only a kid once. And if she gave you $600, all she has here is $500. But if she gave you $600, that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. At all! So since you have no other proof, and since I don't believe that this mellow young man did anything sneaky behind your back, I think you're just annoyed at something. I'm not sure what.
Excuse me, Your
and
Honor,
I don't.
could
And
you
actually,
ask Andre?
actually, I don't care.
Could you ask Andre? Ask him if he owes me the money for my car insurance.
Actually, I don't care. If he said, yes, I owe her the money for the car insurance, I would throw you both out. That's why we're here.
Ask why?
That's why we're here. I'm going to tell you why. Yeah. Because if he owed you the money for the car insurance, he would pay you. What does he have to come to court for? Do you understand what I'm saying?
I had to take him. He would not pay, so I cancel it.
Do you understand what I just said? If he said to me, yes, I owe her the money, then I would feel as if out, because if he owes you the money, he should pay you.
No.
Do you understand what I mean?
Correct.
Perfect.
I don't believe
you
that.
mind me saying something?
We're done. We're done.
You mind me saying something? I
About
apologize.
what?
For the costs, you know, when I had to move out of the house, my mom, she has, you know, when I was working, she'll agree that I paid her all the insurance.
It's a good thing you moved out of the house.
It really was a benefit to me.
It's a good thing, a benefit.
But when I moved out of the house, I spent all the money. By the time, you know, the limo, I didn't have a car, I didn't have anything.
Now you're on your own. You're 21.
Yeah, and
perfect. And mellow.
I am, and I'm.
We're done. Goodbye.
So is it that I apologize?
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I mean, I love my son more than anything. No money can come in between us.
I don't owe her anything. You know, I thank her for having me.
But to lie and say that he doesn't owe me thousands of dollars.
But no, I don't owe her anything, and the people...
And he added on his limo to my insurance without my knowledge.
My friends and family watching this will agree.
Oh, I love him. We're gonna go back to normal, but he's still gonna pay me.
I won't have to hear the I owe you money thing anymore.
Oh, believe that.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Moore versus Askew. Step forward.
Tamisha Moore told Tylisha Askew for car damage, car rental fees, and pain and suffering resulting from a road rage incident.
The two of you sort of got into a sort of ridiculous, road ragey kind of situation while both of you were in your cars that ended up in a collision. This happened 9 months ago. And it is your claim, Miss Moore, that Miss Askew rear-ended you after some chasing around because somebody wouldn't let somebody in to get into their lane, and then somebody sped up, and then brakes slammed, and you both had children in the car? Am I correct?
Yes.
The defendant says, well, actually, you pulled into a gas station. She followed you. At your request, you told her to come in. She followed you, and then you backed up into her. That's her story.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
In August, you took the car to be fixed, and when they took off the bumper, they found additional damage, so you want $5,000 from her.
Correct.
It's not going to happen.
How is that?
How is that?
Yes.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Tamisha Moore said damaged her car during an incident of road rage.
Now, your insurance company came to do an inspection.
Correct.
On what date?
It was a couple of days later.
And the car was located where when the insurance company came in?
In front of my house.
Had you taken the car to a mechanic?
Not at that current time, no. It was only a couple of days later.
So you hadn't taken the car to a mechanic?
No.
Insurance company came, looked at the bumper of your car, and gave you a check for $1,300.
Yes, approximately a month later, they mailed me a check, correct.
Now, when did you take the car in to be fixed?
August.
So the insurance company sent you a check the end of March, and you drove the car March, April, May, June, and July for 5 months, because you drove that car every day, correct?
Correct.
And then what you're telling me is in August, you took the car in to be fixed. And when they took off the bumper, they found additional damage, so you want $5,000 from her.
Correct.
It's not going to happen. Do you understand? It's not going to happen. There was a little road rage going on. Well, I got the basics of all I need for the story, which is...
She said that I backed up into her.
I don't care whether you pirouette. The company gave you $1,300 to fix the damage to the car that you allege she caused. They came and they paid you. You chose not to have your car fixed that month.
That was
with the $1,300 to take it into a mechanic and have it fixed. You drove the car around for 5 months. And then some little bird said, well, why don't you take the car in to have it fixed now, 5 months later? And 5 months later, after driving the car every single day, you take the car in and you say there was damage to the car found under the bumper that she caused 5 months earlier. I assume this is not a mechanic.
Correct.
So those are your basic facts. And I'm here to tell you, you have no case.
How is that?
How is that?
Yes.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You're not
I was
following
coming
me.
from church.
Just a second. I don't care whether
my
you were
son.
coming from temple, whether you were coming from a mosque. I don't care where you were coming from, and I don't care if it was her fault. Listen to me carefully.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Tamisha Moore says, fellow motorist Tylisha Askew damaged her car.
I'm here to tell you, you have no case.
How is
Period.
that?
How is that?
Yes.
Because you can not show me any nexus between any other damage that was done to your car and her. You can't show me any proof that your insurance company paid you for the damage that was caused as a result of this accident, which was $1,300. Now, if you said I couldn't drive the car after that, and I didn't drive the car after that, and when I finally took my only car into the mechanic, and the mechanic found lots of other damage, and you had a mechanic here to draw some connection between this incident that happened in March, 9 months ago, and the damage that was done, I would listen to you. You don't have that.
Actually, I was going to take it to another mechanic, and I have a few text messages here of us communicating back and forth.
I don't care.
And also my insurance, communicating with my insurance. He was trying to get approval for my car and the estimates. That's what took so long.
I don't care. Then you shouldn't have signed off on the check because you signed off releasing your insurance company from all claims when you accepted the check, $1,300.
And also the check for $1,300.
Do you understand what I said? You signed off on all claims with your insurance companies when you accepted and cashed the check for $1,300.
I never cashed it until I took my car in to get fixed. I handed the check over to the body shop.
5 months later?
Well, like I told you, your mechanic that fixed my car previously, that's what took so long.
You have no case, Miss Moore. We're done. Goodbye.
Excuse me. I also have my rental car statements, my bill for my rental car that I paid for. I had to come out of pocket.
Listen to me carefully. You have to be able to prove
I'm
nexus.
proving it.
I need... This is not a mechanic.
Can I show you what happened?
No, I'm not interested in what happened. I'm assuming everything that
down.
Listen
I was
to me.
driving. I came from church.
I am assuming everything. You're not
I was
following
coming
me.
from church.
Just a second. I don't care whether
with my
you were coming from church, whether you were coming from temple, whether you were coming from a mosque. I don't care where you were coming from, and I don't care if it was her fault. Listen to me carefully.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
You have to show a nexus between the accident and her, and waiting 5 months to listen.
Because I was communicating with my mechanic.
Where? Just a second.
I was chased down in my car with my son. She had her 6-month-old baby in the car. Does that matter?
You're not paying attention. You're not listening. You're closing off the ears.
I spent $1,200 for a rental car.
In what month?
The month I submitted my car to be
Just a second. Listen, $1,200 for a rental car.
It was over a month my car was in the shop. I had to pay for a rental car over a month.
You're not listening to me. In
August.
This happened in March.
Okay, so isn't there a statute of limitations?
May,
Does it matter what month I took my car to get fixed?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. You're not paying attention. Goodbye.
Excuse me.
Thank you.
You know what?
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
According to me, we were coming from our church. I didn't ever see her. I was making a left onto Grove.
First of all, I'm driving, coming home from church, minding my business.
She honked her horn. She thought I was cutting her off. Truthfully, I was not cutting her off.
I almost ran off the road by some crazy lunatic.
After that, she sped up, cut me off onto Hope. Road ranging, just switching lanes.
With her 6-month-old baby in the car, chasing me down with my son in the car.
So when I pulled into the gas station, she brake checked me, reversed her car, and hit me.
I have to come out of my pocket for damages for my car, a rental car.
It's just tit for tat, honestly. Road rage, hotheads, craziness.
I'm done.
Exiting a restaurant left him with a bad taste.
You were holding the door open for your wife. And he called you out on it.
Then he returned for seconds.
I get my family to the car. I walk back in the restaurant.
Ah, there we go, Mr. Pogue. Now that's your problem.
I told him he was rude again.
And then he hit me in the mouth with a closed fist.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
20-year-old Yo-Yo Shu is suing Carl Pogue for assaulting him at a restaurant.
Order. All rise.
It's case number 326 on the calendar, the matter of Shea versus Polk. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Each of you tells a different story about an event that occurred a couple of years ago where you allege, Mr. Shea, that you were injured by the defendant, who you say punched you.
Yes, Your Honor.
This is what I'm visualizing from the story, and then I'm going to let you pick it up. You were going to a restaurant.
Yes, Your Honor.
What kind of restaurant?
It was a breakfast brunch cafe.
Where? In what city?
In San Mateo, California.
Who were you there with?
My father, my brother, my mother, my full total, including me.
And the restaurant was busy.
Yes.
So according to what I read, you were waiting outside.
Yes, that's correct.
Were there other people also waiting outside for a table?
Yes, about 15 to 20 people.
What time of the day was it?
It was around noontime.
And what day of the week?
It was Sunday.
You remember the date?
It was the 20th of December, 2015.
And you decided that you had to use the restroom.
Yes, that's correct.
So you were going into the restaurant.
Correct.
Mr. Pogue and his family had been having brunch and were finished. Is that right, sir?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
And who were you with?
I was with my wife and our two sons, Isaiah and Alan.
How old are they?
They are 8 and 9 years old.
And you got up to leave, you paid your bill, and according to what I read, pretty consistent on both sides, you were holding the door open for your wife.
That's correct,
so
Your
that
Honor.
she and the children could leave.
Right.
And the appropriate thing is for you to wait until he's not holding the door for you. He's holding the door for his wife, to wait until his wife and children leave, then take the door from him and go in, right?
Right.
That's not what you did. What you did was scoot past them to go into the restaurant. Not a tragedy, rude.
Sure.
And that's what he said to you.
Correct.
He said, according to you.
Right.
And what did you say?
I said, I'm not rude, you're rude.
Well, so then you were wrong, because I'm telling you, you were rude.
Your Honor, he was taking a long time. When he opened the door, his wife was nowhere near the door. And because he was taking a prolonged period of time, I decided to squeeze in first.
You were rude.
Maybe so.
Right. And he called you out on it. He said you were rude. Even if you think that his wife was taking too long, you were still wrong because he wasn't rude. You think him telling you that you were rude was why he was rude?
Yes, I felt like the tone, the voice that he said that in.
You didn't like his tone?
No.
Did you grow up in California?
Yes.
They talk an awful lot about tones and feelings here in California.
Sure do.
Feelings are hurt right now. You grow up in Brooklyn, you're not so interested in your feelings. You're interested in getting across the street.
Sure.
So you didn't like his tone. So his tone you thought was rude. Now I think I have created the word picture for people out there. You're rude. No, you're rude. Pick it up from there.
Yes,
Mr.
Your Honor.
Shue.
After that, he left the restaurant. I went to the bathroom as I had planned to do, and I washed my hands. I used the toilet, and then I headed back out to...
In that order?
No, and then I left.
I'm just curious. I mean, it wouldn't be terrible, but
And then I went to go meet my family, who was outside. And as I was leaving the restaurant, right as I approached the front door, I saw Mr. Pogue come into the restaurant with a different outfit than I had first seen him in. And he said, "Hey, do you want to fight me? You want to challenge, tough guy?"
No.
And then I told him to back up because he was trying to get in my face. You know, he was...
Okay, and this conversation is taking place in the restaurant, outside the restaurant?
It was immediately inside the restaurant, right inside the doorway.
Is there a vestibule?
No.
So it's right at the door, but you're inside the restaurant?
Yes.
Okay, is the door open or closed?
Closed.
Keep going.
And then I told Mr. Pogue to back up. I said, "Hey, back up, back up, don't touch me," because he was getting really close to me.
So he got very close to you.
Yes.
And?
And I asked him to back up.
You told me that already.
Yes.
And
he did back up, and he turned around to leave the restaurant. And right as he stepped foot outside the restaurant, I had also stepped foot outside the restaurant, and the door closed behind us. And then Mr. Pogue suddenly turned around, and he said, "Hey, tough guy." And then he...
Okay. So when you said, "Hey, get away from me," Who exited the restaurant first?
Mr. Pogue did.
And you were going outside to see your family.
Correct.
Just for curiosity's sake, because he has a different version of the story. Now you have a nut whose family is gone. He went to the car, changed his outfit.
Correct.
To come back into the restaurant, you think, to look for you.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And now you're both standing at the door, and you say he's in your face, but his back is to the door, right?
Yes.
And he was moving closer to you because you say he was in your face.
Correct.
And you say to him, so now you see this nut is sort of confronting you, Mr. Shu, and you say, get away from me, you know, you're in my face, you're in my space.
Yes.
So Mr. Pogue has to turn around.
Yes.
So now he's facing the door, and he goes out the door.
Correct.
An intelligent young man would say, you know what, I'm going to stay in here for a minute and let him leave. That's what an intelligent young man would do. Would say, well, because I haven't started with him yet. I have somebody who's aggressive, who clearly came back looking for trouble. It appears that I have averted to right back to join my family. The table wasn't ready. They weren't giving it to somebody else.
Right.
So what did you go outside for?
I didn't think that there would be further
You didn't
aggression.
think?
No.
You weren't thinking all morning. You weren't thinking.
You
weren't thinking when you scooted in, when he was holding the door. You weren't thinking when this nut job who went to his car, changed his clothes, came back looking for a fight. You said, you want to fight me? And he said, nah, I'm leaving. And he turns around and leaves, and you follow him right outside.
Well, Your Honor, the entire confrontation happened so quickly, I didn't have time to think.
Okay. And he punched you?
Yes.
In the face?
Yes.
And this case dragged on in the criminal court for 2 years. And were there ever any charges filed?
Yes, 2 misdemeanor charges are filed, but they were dismissed due to lack of evidence.
They were dismissed. Okay, and that's why you're here now 2 years later, because you want some financial compensation for being hit.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Pogue, you want to tell me your version of the events?
Absolutely, I do, Your Honor.
So
the initial contact.
The initial contact we understand.
Right.
You're holding the door for your wife.
Right.
Mr. I can't wait to go to the bathroom.
Right. He walks
Scoots
through my
in.
wife. He actually physically walks through her. It's not
Well,
like
he
she
didn't
was.
walk through her.
He did.
He can't walk through.
In
But
terms
he
of
walked
physically,
around her.
in her space. He actually touched her.
I got
Okay.
exactly what he did.
Okay.
I got to say, he was being stupid. It usually requires nothing more than a look. When somebody does that to me, if I'm holding the door
Right.
for one of my grandchildren and
Right.
some idiot scoots in and doesn't let that child go, I
Right.
look at him like this. Idiot.
Yeah. Well, I said it in terms of you're rude, and he got
That was
close enough to
actually
my face.
nicer than I would have done.
It wasn't. He was aggressive. He got in my face close enough to spit in my face and tell me that I'm rude. Okay.
Okay.
So
No,
at this point,
what he said, no, you're rude.
exactly
I got exactly.
Right.
I got exactly what happened.
with the spit and
I got
the
exactly
physical-
what happened.
Right.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He backed me up 10, 15 feet out the door.
Okay.
I told him again to take his hands off me.
Okay.
I did not punch him. I struck him with a forearm. That's how
Whether you
close he
punched
was
him or
to me.
not, if he put his hands on you first, then he deserved whatever he got.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Yo-Yo Shu is accusing Carl Pogue of punching him in the mouth during an altercation at a restaurant.
Keep going.
Okay, so I get my family to the car.
Forward. Ah, there we go, Mr. Pogue. Now that's your problem.
That is a problem, only to confront him about, not physically, to tell him, to reiterate with him that he was rude for what he did.
Mr. Pogue, unnecessary. Do you agree?
I agree.
And let me tell you who else told you it was unnecessary. She did, because you go to the car, you put her in the car with your 2 children. Did you tell him, forget it, let it go? No. That's what I'm asking you. That's either a yes or a no. Did you tell him, forget it, let it go?
Yes.
Stand up for 1 minute. I'm not trying to put you in difficult circumstance. Were you annoyed that he left you and the boys in the car while he went back to confront this guy?
Well, you know, the problem is that the car was right there, like 5 steps
To get
off, you know, from the door. So it was really fast. He just went there, opened the door for me again in the car, and then he went back in.
How could somebody so polite? You know, I've been married for 40 years. I've been opening car doors for myself for 40 years. You have somebody who holds the door open for you.
He's a good husband.
Right?
Yes.
And opens the car door for you.
Yes.
So from where you were sitting in the car, you could see what was going on?
Well, you know...
That's either a yes. That's all. I know. I want you to lie to me. Now you can sit down. Okay, so now you put on a jacket to go and confront him.
Not to confront him, Your Honor, to tell him that he was to reiterate that he was rude again.
I think that the word you used before was to confront him, to reiterate that he was rude.
Right. Confront doesn't always mean physically.
I didn't say it was physical. Okay. Keep going.
So yeah. I walked in the restaurant. The young man was standing inside the door, obviously waiting for his table. He was not walking out the door. I walked up to him. I told him he was rude again. Again, he approached me in my face, backed me out the door. I told him to take his hands off me. He's
Just a second. When he backed you out the door,
right?
Where were his hands?
On my body.
Where on your body?
On my torso. He's leaning over me. This kid stands 6'3". He's leaning over me. He backed me up 10, 15 feet out the door.
Okay.
I told him again to take his hands off me. At that point, he didn't. He kept coming forward.
Okay.
I did not punch him. I struck him with a forearm. That's how close he was.
Whether you punched him or not, if he put his hands on you first, then he deserved whatever he got. Oh. Do you understand?
Yes, of course.
Did you put your hands on him, is my question.
Absolutely not.
I'd like to see the police report.
Sure. Here's the police report.
Mr. Shue?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'd like to take a look at it.
Sure. Your Honor, if I could explain the bill. As a result of the attack and the punch to my face, I was wearing braces at the time. And
I know, the police officer noticed a small scratch inside your cheek.
Actually, I have photos that show the laceration, and the laceration was...
I'd like to see it.
Not what I would describe as small.
I suppose that depends upon whether it's happened to you or somebody else.
Sure.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
When you went into the restaurant, it was colder. You went into the restaurant without a jacket. When you went back and dropped your wife off, what you want me to believe is the world stopped turning on the axis the way it usually does. It got colder after brunch.
And later today,
she actually said, I'm driving the car. It's my car. It's not my brother's car. And you had the car all the time.
She got it insured because I couldn't get it at the time.
Are you not following what I'm saying to you?
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Yo-Yo Shu is accusing Carl Pogue of punching him in the...
All right, this is your problem, Mr. Pogue. Your problem is it was all over. I read the police report. Have you read it?
I have not had a chance to read it.
Well, I'd like you to read it. There was a person who was there, who was a witness, who was interviewed by the police. Because when the police came, of course, your story was that he put his hands on you first. He may have gotten the short end of the stick after a confrontation, but he placed his hands on you first. My problem with your behavior, Mr. Pogue, is that you shouldn't have gone back into the restaurant. And not only shouldn't you have gone back into the restaurant, but you went back into the restaurant after changing your clothes, putting on a jacket and a beanie, had a jacket, beanie, and a toothpick.
Your
right?
Honor, it was December. It was 30 degrees outside.
Your wife just told me that the car was 5 feet away from the restaurant. That's what she just told me. So you didn't have to get all warmed up to go inside 5 feet. You actually walked into the restaurant. It didn't change that much in temperature. If anything, it usually gets warmer during the day. So when you went into the restaurant, it was colder. You went into the restaurant without a jacket. When you went back and dropped your wife off, what you want me to believe is the world stopped turning on the axis the way it usually does. It got colder after brunch. Now, you think that they're rude. That comes under the category of sticks and stones will break my bones. You thought that you were going to change his impression of your behavior, calling him rude. Nothing that you would have said to him was going to change. He is very sure of himself. I think his behavior was silly, but your behavior was stupid, and your behavior caused this incident. Judgment
Your
for
Honor,
the
I
plaintiff
was-
in the amount of $2,000. We're done.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I think the young man learned a valuable lesson that day.
I think her decision was excellent. She clearly saw through this man's intentions.
Look at the man. He stands 6'3" tall. I'm 5'9".
He came looking for a fight.
I'm a grown man. I can take care of myself.
He has no excuse to hit someone, anybody.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Davis versus Davis. Step forward.
24-year-old Jennifer Davis is suing her brother, 21-year-old Brian Davis, for the unpaid balance on a car loan.
Mr. Davis, how do you support yourself?
I work.
What kind of work do you do?
Oh, I'm in the healthcare field.
Your sister co-signed for a car for you,
Yes,
right?
correct.
Was the car titled in your name or her name?
It was registered and insured under her name.
Only hers. Why is that?
For cheaper insurance.
That's fraudulent. Not an That's fraudulent. Why was it registered in your name?
He wasn't able to get insurance under his name. And
Why?
Because of his age, and he just got his license like 6 months ago.
How old are you?
Me, I'm 21.
Oh, that's a big problem.
And I didn't get my license 6 months ago.
At the time, 6 months ago. Give or take a couple of
You know,
months.
Miss Davis, that's a real problem.
Correct.
For you,
Yes.
on this case.
Yes.
You understand that?
Yes.
Because if the car was in both of your names, he works, he has a job. Problem is, she co-signed for a loan for you.
Correct.
She did something that she shouldn't have done, which is she put the car in her name, and she got that insurance, which actually defrauded the insurance company because he was in an accident, the car was totaled, they paid out on the car. Now, if they wouldn't have insured him, they wouldn't be out all this money. Do you understand?
Yes.
Right. And there was no gap insurance, which means while they paid for the car, there was a difference of...
Around $3,000.
which he has to pay for. And if you think that the other person was at fault, sue him.
I wasn't pursuing the money at the time because I was out of work and I was injured from the accident.
Understand me, I'm not awarding her any money in this case because what she did was against the law.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Are you in a family dispute? Go to judgejudy.com, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Now, she turned over a car to you. You weren't allowed to have it. You weren't allowed to insure it. She actually said, I'm driving the car. It's my car. It's not my brother's car. And you had the car all the time. You were using it for work, right?
Well, they knew it was my car. It got it insured because I couldn't get it at the time.
Are you not following what I'm saying to you? Your sister understands what I'm saying.
I understand what you're saying, yes, but...
Well, there's a doctrine that we use in court. It's called doctrine of clean hands. If you want the court to come in and perform an equitable function, which is there's no contract here, you want me to look at the equities in the case and say, well, who's right and who's wrong, you have to come in with clean hands. You want to co-sign for a car for somebody? That's your own stupidity. But if they're not allowed to have insurance in their own name or the insurance premiums would be too high, and what you say is, well, I'll put it in my name and I'll insure it in my name even though it's your car, then you can't ask the courts to come and help you afterwards. You understand that?
Yes.
Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Hopefully he pays it.
I want to take it to this step.
It's dropped my credit score very much. It's hard to get, credit cards or anything for that matter.
The car accident was not my fault.
No more co-signing.
Hopefully, she'll come to her senses and, not do stupid things like this.
$10,000.
Yes.
You had a big chunk of money.
Yes.
An ex says their loan is his problem.
It was taken out in his name alone.
I don't care.
He borrowed against my CD.
With your permission.
With my permission, yes.
But how much did she benefit?
I helped pay bills. I purchased another car. The way I see it is...
I don't care the way you see it. I'm not interested in the way you see it.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Denise White is suing her ex-boyfriend, Eric Anderson, for a loan and child care bills.
Order. All rise.
Your Honor, case number 324 on the calendar in the matter of White versus Anderson.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Ms. White, Mr. Anderson is your former boyfriend, and you have one child together who is how?
For a short time, yes.
When did you live together?
2009 till 2013. Or 2014, excuse me.
And from 2009 to 2014, were you employed?
Yes.
What were you doing?
I was a fuel tax administrator.
Outside of the home?
Yes. I worked for a
And
company.
what did you do, Mr. Anderson?
I was a sanitational engineer.
And from 2009 to 2018, we had 2 employed people. You had a child who was in daycare, I assume. Somebody was taking care of him, and you were running your household.
Yes.
2014, the 2 of you separated. This is what the case is about. It is your claim, Ms. White, that Mr. Anderson took out a loan, which you took out for him for bills, and you put up as collateral a CD that you had, and he paid it for a while and then stopped. So you want the balance of that loan paid, and in addition, you want certain child care expenses after 2014. Mr. Anderson says it's ridiculous. He doesn't owe any money. That loan was taken out. Joint bills were paid out of that money, and he pays child support. And if you need money for expenses that are not ordered by the court, that's not his responsibility. Okay, so I would like the month and year that this loan was taken out.
May 2013.
While you were still together?
Correct.
Alone? Then why are you involved with it?
Because he borrowed against my CD.
With your permission?
With my permission, yes.
That's how I want to know, Mr. Anderson. When this loan was taken out, what was the money used for?
It was used to pay
Look
off
at me.
a previous loan that I had with Miss White.
Tell me, put your hand down. Tell me about that loan.
I had taken out a loan with Miss White.
In what year?
I want to say it was in 2006 or 7.
Before you lived together?
Yes. There was the payoff. There was over a $2,000.
Put your hand down.
There was over a $2,000 on the previous loan balance that I had.
You weren't living together at that time?
No.
So that loan was strictly your loan?
Yes.
And there was a $2,000 balance on that?
Yes.
And the loan that you took out against Miss White's CD was for $10,000?
Yes.
So $2,000 of that is clearly your responsibility. If you took out and paid off your loan that was taken out before you were living together as a family,
yes,
I believe that that's your responsibility. So now we're down $8,000.
Yes.
What did you do with the other $8,000?
I helped pay bills.
Like what? Did you have a car?
I did at the time, which was going out, so I purchased it.
For you?
For family, so I could get back and forth to work.
Okay,
but yes,
just
it
a
was
second.
for me.
Do you still have that car?
Yes, I do.
It's in your name.
The title is in both of our names.
Interesting. How are you going to handle that, Miss White?
I don't have the car. It's his car. He purchased it. The reason the title is in both names.
But you have a problem, Miss White. And your problem is this. If you're no longer together and he's driving around in a car and your name is on the title.
He's not driving it.
Who is driving it?
Nobody. It's unregistered, uninsured, has been. He's
you
had the car.
You have a great answer, but where is the car?
I have the car in storage.
Why?
Because with the winters in New England, it's a sports car. I will not put it on the road. It is almost an antique, and I can't get it registered without Mrs. White's signature on the insurance so that I can actually put it on the road. That's why I have,
How much did you pay for the car?
$3,900.
So out of the $10,000, $2,000 was yours from a previous loan that was exclusively yours.
Yes.
For $4,000, you bought a car.
Yes.
So that's $4,000 left. Now, you understand that you're not getting any money unless the title to the car is signed over to him.
He can have it. I've offered it before.
Just a second. Great. You have the title with you?
No, I have the title.
Because you're not going to get any money until he gets the signed title.
I give it to him as soon as I get home tomorrow.
Great.
Not a problem.
Perfect. Next.
Used help to pay bills.
You said that twice already. I want to know what. You're working, she's working. So you're each contributing to the household. So far, $6,000 of this $10,000 loan is exclusively yours. I'm trying to look to see what you did with the other $4,000.
There was a point at time that Miss White was out of work for over 6 months.
Just a second. From when to when?
I can't remember.
When?
2015.
Well, 2015.
I was out of work for a year.
From when to when?
From October 2015 2014 to October 2015. I was collecting unemployment.
Well, unemployment doesn't support you. Who was supporting you other than unemployment?
We split the bills. I got $250 a week from him out of his paycheck into my account, and that paid our bills.
Okay, well, then I'm considering... That unless you can tell me some other major purchase that he purchased, like his loan and his sports car, so far he owes $6,000. That $4,000 I'm taking off because that's your family.
But it's not. He didn't pay the bills out of that money. He passed through it. And I have in writing that he owes me the money and will pay it.
Then you shouldn't be here. Then you don't have a problem.
I have to come here to get it.
Pay on the loan.
From $10,000, I owed just right around $4,000 left on the loan.
So there was $4,000 balance.
Yes.
On the loan.
Actually, it was 39 something.
Is that an accurate number?
Yes.
Good. So then each of you are going to be responsible for $2. Half of that. You be responsible for $2.
I disagree.
He's going to be. I don't care whether you agree or not.
I have proof.
Listen to me.
It was his loan. It was not used for household stuff, and I have proof of that.
Listen to me. When you are together.
We weren't together for 1 year when he took out that loan. The rest, he's paid every payment on his own.
He took out the loan while you were together.
To buy a car and pay off his debt, not mine.
That's a $4,000 car and a $2,000 debt. That leaves $4,000 left.
He had 2 bankruptcies. He owed me money from bankruptcies that I filed for him. He paid me for that.
$2,000. Okay. Let's go. The next thing that you claim that he owes you is for child care expenses. From what year?
I'm not done with the loan. I have loan payments.
Just a second. We're finished with the loan. We're now going to the child care expenses. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Great. Child care expenses. From what
Can
year?
I ask one question?
I don't answer questions.
But
from what?
He took out a loan.
From what year?
He said he took out a loan in 2006 for us. We weren't together in 2006.
Listen to me. I've given you dollars of the $10,000 solely is his responsibility.
It's all his responsibility.
Miss White, I'm going to throw you out unless you're paying attention to me. I said $6,000 of this $10,000 loan was solely his responsibility. He paid off a prior loan that was taken out for him in 2006 when you were not living together, and he bought himself a car, which he has possession of, and you, before you get this $2,000, I'm going to sign over the title to the car to him and send. Do you understand? Yeah. Perfect. Now I'm going to get back to my next question. What child care expenses, from when do you believe he owes you?
From the time he stopped paying me in January till... January of 2017 till April of 2017.
January of 2017. Now, January 2017, were you under a child support order?
No, I was not.
January 2017 until what date?
It was...
April.
April of
January, February, March. And April, he became subject to a child support order.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. What is that order?
What she's going after...
Just tell me, what is the child support order?
What I pay? It was, at that point, $161 plus back arrears on top of that.
Listen, I'm a family court lady. $161. Yes. Current.
Current. Till August.
$161 current. And did the court at that time fix arrears?
Yes, they did.
In what amount?
$40 and 25 cents.
$40 how often?
Every other week on top of the $161.
Okay, so every 2 weeks you pay $161 plus $40.20 on arrears.
Yes.
What period of time do the arrears cover?
As far as I know, it was everything prior to going to that date.
All I want to know is, do we have an order?
I don't have the original
Just a second.
order.
Well, that's what I want. I want an order that says what the arrears are for.
I have.
May I see it?
Goes to April 7th.
Was this the first child support order?
Yes, I filed.
The answer is yes.
Yes.
And you had a hearing?
Yes.
And the judge fixed arrears at $1,690.50, according to this.
Correct.
And ordered him to pay $40.20 bi-weekly in addition to the $161.
Correct.
Then you're not entitled to any more money.
But the arrears was only going from April 1st till he paid in June. Agreement we had from January to March.
You should have listened to me.
But we had an agreement. They asked me if I wanted to go back on the arrears. I said no. We have an agreement that he will pay so much a week, and he was paying, and I had no issue with it. He stopped paying. They asked me if I wanted to go back. It was more money than what he already owed, so I said no. The court order starts April 7th.
This order is dated August 9th, 2017.
Correct. The arrears go back to April of 2017.
I don't care. This matter has been adjudicated in a family court.
No, it has not. The past due of what he owes me, I have it right here in writing after the court order. After the court order,
it can't be after the court.
He owes me
Listen to me.
$1,600.
It can't be after the court order.
It is because the court only covers April on. The previous money that he owed me, they said I can go after him or they can take it and put it back to the arrears. I have it in writing that he owes me and he will pay me, so I told them that we would take care of it outside of court.
Very good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,000 until it'll be held until you get it. I'm going to explain it to you one more time. You get 1 day.
Can I appeal this to another court?
No, you can't explain it to me. You can't tell me. You went to court. There's a judicial order. A judge in...
Yep, starting in April. What about the 9 years
of golden slippers?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today...
Either somebody had to do it purposely with an object or something fell on it.
Yes, I believe something fell on it.
I don't care what you believe. Trust me. I know what I'm doing. I've been doing it for a long time. Okay? I'm not your enemy yet. Okay?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Denise White says the father of her child, Eric Anderson, owes for a loan and child care bills.
What I'm telling you is, in August of this year, the court, after a hearing, fixed his arrears at $1,690. We're done. Thank you.
Parties are excused, Miss. Step out.
She thinks she's in the right and I'm in the wrong, which she always has.
Would you like to see the Texas asking for my money?
She's always had people help her out like I have.
Because he's a loser.
She always thinks that.
Everybody takes care of him.
I just don't want anything to do with her except for my son.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Mayorga versus Ceballos. Step forward.
25-year-old Paloma Mayorga is suing her neighbor, Elisa Ceballos, for damage to her car windshield after a potted plant fell.
That live in the same building complex.
That's correct, ma'am.
And you have assigned parking spaces.
Yes.
Miss Ceballos lives on the second floor?
Yes.
And has a balcony.
Correct.
And on her balcony, she's got a lot of potted plants. I assume you have a green thumb, you like to play with your plants?
I do.
Oh, good. How many do you have on your balcony?
I have 5.
Tell me what kind of plants you have.
I have a fern, I have 2 cucumbers, I have a wild flower, and I have a jalapeno.
So you have some vegetable plants.
Yes.
And 1 floral.
Yes.
And they're in different kinds of pots.
Yes.
Do you repot them when you buy them, or do you use the pots that you get from the nursery or grocery store?
Some from the grocery, and some are, one of them's terracotta, or 2 of them are terracotta.
One is terracotta, most of them are plastic, the kind that you get back from the grocery store. Okay, and you parked your car in your assigned parking space. You come out one day. The day was?
September 11th, I know because
9/11 of this year.
Yes, of this year.
And your windshield was broken?
Yes.
And when you parked it, your windshield wasn't broken?
No.
When you park your car, do you park it nose first into the parking space?
That's correct.
So either a person had to purposefully come around with an object and bash in your windshield because they wouldn't have gotten it from, it wasn't a back above. Well, you're not sure of that because you weren't there.
I am sure of that.
Look, either somebody had to do it purposely with an object or something fell on it.
Yes, I believe something fell on it.
I don't care what you believe. Trust me. I know what I'm doing. I've been doing it for a long time. Okay? I'm not your enemy yet. Okay?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Is this your balcony?
That is my balcony.
Well, why would you put a plant precariously on the ledge?
They need sun, and
well,
that's
pretty ridiculous. Miss Ceballos, this is actually pretty stupid.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
25-year-old Paloma Mayorga is suing her neighbor, Elisa Ceballos, for damage to her car windshield after a potted plant fell from her balcony.
So your windshield was broken. The way your car was parked, either somebody had to purposefully come and break your windshield or something fell on it.
That's correct.
Correct, right. And you looked up when you saw your windshield, and directly above you are Miss Sabalas's pepper plants and cucumber plants and floral plants, and they're on her balcony.
Yeah, a variety of potted items that you can clearly see.
Okay. Now, is there a railing around her balcony?
There is a railing around the balcony.
Do you have a photograph? Exactly what it is. Thank you. Oh, Ms. Sabalos, this is actually pretty stupid. Is this your balcony?
That is my balcony.
Well, why would you put a plant precariously on the ledge?
They need sun, and
well, that's pretty ridiculous.
That's where they were.
What do you mean that's where they were? Somebody once said, your dogs are barking all night long, and that's what dogs do, they bark. Well, then put them inside. What do you mean they need sun? So that's why I put it in a place where a gust of wind can knock it off and actually hurt somebody?
If I may, the same day that this happened to her car, the person right above her car on the balcony right below me had a bicycle and hanging plants. And I've seen it before.
Show me a picture.
I don't have one because I'm not photographing people's balconies.
Well,
I am.
Listen to me.
She is after...
Listen. Hey, Ms. Sabalos.
Yes.
Listen to me very carefully. You're not an unintelligent person. Did she contact you the day that this happened? Listen, that's a yes or a no?
Yes.
Okay. So she contacted you the day that this happened, and she came up to you and said, my car was just smashed, and she had looked up and you had other plants on your terrace. So now I say to my, looked where her car was, and I see that the neighbor also had hanging plants and other things. You see that phone that you carry around with you, like you carry around a heart machine, all right? You snap a picture of it. So your answer isn't a smart one to me. Your answer is, look, it could have been the plant of the person above me, below me. Maybe it was a bicycle that fell. Instead of, I don't go around taking pictures of people's balconies.
If I may, that person was moving out the same day that happened to her vehicle.
Ma'am, I've been walking out that back entrance to get to my car.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
The answer is you don't have a photograph. Not that I don't go around taking pictures of people's balconies.
I don't have a photograph.
Very good. How much was it to fix your windshield?
It cost $259.30 in total to replace.
May I see that, please?
Yes. And then attached are my bank statements to prove that I paid it.
Not a good place to put things that can precariously fall off. For you, $59.30. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done. Thank you.
Why is that excused? You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
The day I went up and knocked on her door, I asked her to show me her balcony to prove it, although at the time I didn't ask her how many pots she had.
I'm positive because it's not my plant.
She mentioned specifically to me that she had a basil plant. There was no basil plant on the balcony.
It's not. All 5 of my pots are there.
Later, when I found the pot, lo and behold, it was a basil plant that looks exactly like the rest of the pot she's got on her balcony.
You know what? She's not a neighbor. She's a psycho.
She's a liar, and I'm really glad I have my money.
This is not going to go well.
Stubborn apartment owners get a grilling.
Are you allowed to rent it? Something is not right, so let's get to the answer. I'm waiting.
But was the money
She was paying you $1,500 a month rent.
too tempting to pass up?
If you were doing something that was against the rules, I'm not going to hear your case.
Oh, then I understand that, yeah.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy.
Mason and Aisha McCullough Charlemagne for unpaid rent, attorney fees, a security deposit, and assault.
Order. All rise. It's case number 328 on the calendar, the matter of Mackay versus Charlemagne.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Miss Charlemagne, I'm going to start with you. How did you find the apartment that you rented from Mr. and Mrs. Mackay?
Aisha and I actually worked together, and while at work, we were talking. And
Okay, just a second. So you knew each other before?
Yes, we did. We worked together still.
For how long?
I started with the company in December of 2015. So at that point, it was about 11 months. We didn't really know each other that well, though.
When you got to talking about their apartment, I'd like to know what the discussion was.
Well, at that point, she had just purchased a home. So
She purchased a house?
Yes, they had purchased a house.
And?
And I was looking for a place. So I remember, like, one day we were speaking, we were in my cubicle, and I was like, oh my God, I just remember you're moving. Like, is there any way possible that I could possibly, like, you know, take over the lease or something? Is that place going to be available? And that's how the conversation basically got started.
Is there any way that I can take over the lease?
Yes.
And what did she say?
I followed up with her, asking her, like, you know, what did your husband say? It took a little while for me to speak to him, but then...
Did you have a written lease with them?
Yes, I did.
I'd like to see it.
Sure.
So, Miss Mackay, you were the landlord. You both signed this, and she was paying you $1,500 a month rent. Is that correct?
No, I wasn't the landlord. My husband was the landlord. I did not sign that at all.
You did?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, you didn't own this apartment. You were leasing this apartment. Is that correct?
We own shares in it. It's a co-op.
Are you allowed to rent it? Something is not right, so let's get to the answer.
Okay.
Are you allowed to rent it?
Yes, you are allowed to allow other people to live in your apartment as long as management is aware of it.
Listen, this is not going to go well. Something happened because you didn't have permission to have the defendant as a tenant in your co-op. And we're going to get to that answer. We're going to get to where I'm going because I see your complaint and I have her cross-complaint. So is the answer yes, you need permission of the co-op to rent, or no?
Yes, you do.
So you need permission of the co-op to rent to anyone?
Yes.
Lived in co-ops, and usually when you need permission of the co-op to rent, they like to interview the prospective tenant.
Yes.
So you have to fill out an application.
I'm assuming so, yes.
Well, does he know? I mean, you both know. You both know at some point there were complaints, and you asked her, could you move your stuff around, please, because we're not supposed to be renting. There came a time when you told her she wasn't supposed to be there. I want you to tell me about that. And don't shift from foot to foot. Are you looking surprised as if I'm talking about something that you don't know anything about?
I'm trying to figure out how do my co-op and my agreement with my co-op have to do with the agreement I had with this young lady. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Everything. You want to know what it has to do with? Because if you were doing something that was against the rules, I'm not going to hear your case.
Oh, then I understand that, then.
Now you understand? Because if you're not supposed to be renting to the defendant, and she doesn't know that you're not supposed to be renting to her.
She was very much aware of it. It was within the agreement that she signed.
Just show me in the agreement where it says you're aware.
Well, she wasn't given mailbox keys or anything.
It doesn't matter. Your agreement with her is in the four corners. Just show me here in the lease with her where show me.
That was verbal.
It was a verbal agreement.
No, there is no verbal agreement. When you have a contract.
The purpose of the contract was just so that when it was time for her to get out, because she came to me.
Listen to me.
I'm listening.
I'm telling you what the law is. When you have a contract with someone, a written signed contract, anything outside of this contract, unless it's signed in the same formality of this contract, is inadmissible. You can't say, for instance, this says $1,500 a month rent, but we agreed that she would pay me $1,750 in cash, or $1,500 and $250 in cash. But that was our agreement. Unless it's in here, it doesn't exist. Do you understand?
I do.
Let's get back to it. You're trying to figure out what it has to do with. So you have a co-op that does not allow you to rent to anyone, your co-op, unless they are vetted by the co-op, like you were when you bought the co-op. Did you have to fill out co-op application?
Of course I did.
Of course. Did you have to submit financials? Of course. Did Co-op board have to approve you when you moved in? Of course, that's what a co-op is. I live in co-ops, so I know. Co-op board has to approve you.
I understand.
And they did. And you want to rent your co-op, we will allow you to rent, but the tenant has to be vetted, just like you were, because we want to make sure who's living among us. The reason we're living in a cooperative is because we choose the people who we feel will all get along together and who are responsible. So you rented to her outside the rules of your co-op. That's either a yes or a no.
I think we already established that was a yes.
Well,
right?
that's so we established. No,
okay.
I established it was a yes, but you.
No, I was actually trying to figure out
what it had to do with this.
Or in a case where do the defendant speaks before the plaintiff. That's all I was trying to figure out.
It has
you just jumped
everything
over
to do
there,
with it.
so it kind of.
It has everything to do with it because when I'm figuring out who I'm dealing with as a litigant, I have to figure out whether somebody is going to skirt the rules for their own benefit.
So the benefit.
And for their own benefit, and it has to do with whether or not I'm going to find them credible, because you were certainly willing to fool your co-op board.
Well, Your Honor, we weren't fooling them because we still wanted to reside there. We were actually helping Ms. Charlemagne because, again, we worked together, and she came to me. We had bought our house in August. We didn't move into our house until November when she moved into the apartment, which means we were able to...
And your complaint was you had the co-op, you moved out of the city, you wanted to keep the co-op for your son. That's what you told me in your complaint. You weren't doing a benevolent thing. You found somebody to cover your expenses while you were holding on to the co-op for your son.
We
That's
bought
what you
the house in August, so we were covering our own expenses. She didn't. She was in a situation where she was unhappy. She complained to me of rodents, water falling from the ceiling, leaks and everything. She was crying, saying she needed somewhere to live.
In the fall of 2016, my coworker confided in me that she was desperate to leave her current apartment. At around the same time, my husband and I had bought a house, but we did not want to give up our co-op in the city. Our son planned to go to college in the area when he graduated from high school, so it was the perfect place for him to live.
He's
That's
13.
what you wrote.
That's in 5 years. That's understandable.
That's what you wrote. I mean, I understand what happened. I'm 75 years old. You think your story is unique?
No, it's not unique. People help people all the time. I know you helped someone in your past before. You don't let someone come live in your house before.
Listen to me. It's not unique. You had a rule. You circumvented the rule because this lease is only for 6 months.
So to give her time, it was only for her to be able to find somewhere else to live.
How old is your son?
13, I mentioned that. So in 5 years, he would be in college.
What's happening to the apartment now?
Witness for the renting office. So that's how we lost the apartment.
So you lost the apartment?
Yes, and I lost
because you were illegally renting it.
No, I lost the apartment.
We were allowing her to live there.
Wait.
No, just tell me why you lost your apartment.
Because Ms. Charlemagne was the witness for my renting office. Until then, I was in court. I would have been in court.
Listen, Mr. Mackay, you have to be a witness for something. You're not a witness out of nothing. A witness usually involves a trial, a hearing, something before an official body. If she's a witness, who was she testifying before?
She was the witness for, obviously, the renting office.
In what kind of proceeding?
She was going against me, of course.
She went to housing court
Don't listen to me. Get together on your stories.
You keep cutting us off. You gotta let us speak when you want us to speak, though. That makes sense.
No. What I want you to answer is my questions.
And then you want to talk over us when we go to answer.
I want you to answer my questions. I didn't know you had lost your apartment. Now I know you lost your apartment. I want to know in what kind of proceeding did you lose your apartment? Was it in a superior court? Was it in a housing court?
Housing court, of course. It was dealing with housing.
Well, not necessarily, because housing court usually involves just rental apartments.
No, it doesn't. It's just housing court, because that's what I was told when I was speaking of me getting stabbed in the housing. I can't take it to criminal with her.
Mr. Mackay, you're not...
So you cut me off again. Like, if you want me to speak, you can't cut me off.
I don't want you to speak.
I don't want you... If every time I speak, you chop, you can't do that. It's hard to...
That's because it's my show.
I understand.
Good.
So you get off on that.
Just a second.
You get off on that.
Just
I got
a second.
You get off so they can laugh. I understand.
Are you finished?
Are you? You could finish.
I want to tell you something. You're finished. Goodbye.
Okay.
You're finished. Goodbye.
Okay. You're a rude lady.
Parties are
excused. That's disrespectful.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
One, she didn't pay us May's rent. She went to the housing office.
My security deposit of $5,000.
They weren't friends to begin with, but I thought that, you know, I thought we had a mutual respect, and as co-workers, she wouldn't try to burn me over for money.
To find out how can she stay in the apartment even though she already signed an agreement that she was only supposed to be there for 6 months.
After all of this kind of behavior, you saw how they behaved. That kind of behavior, I couldn't get out of there fast enough.
So it was no reason for her to go anywhere else to find out how she can stay there if you already signed an agreement for 6 months.
But you know what they say, money is the root of all evil, so there you go.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Ilkan versus Cruz Jacobo step forward.
Avisa Ilkan is suing her former Cruz and his boyfriend, Luis Jacobo, for the return of her security deposit.
Miss Ilkan, you want your security deposit back from the defendants. They were your landlords. That's what the case is about.
Yes,
right?
Your Honor.
Okay. You rented a room to the plaintiff.
Yes, month to month.
In a house that you own or rent?
Rent.
You rent a house from an owner. Who is the owner of the house?
A family member.
Who?
It's my partner's brother-in-law's mother.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You had to give him 30 days' notice.
That's correct, Your Honor. However, we had an agreement when I had vacated the premises that he had agreed to pay me back my last months in full since I did not stay a full last month.
Did you agree to that?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Avisa Ilkan says former landlords Anthony Cruz and Luis Jacobo are wrongfully withholding her security deposit. The defendants are countersuing for cleaning fees and additional occupant fees.
You rent a house from an owner. Who is the owner of the house?
Well, it's my partner's brother-in-law.
Okay, so nobody related by blood to either one of you?
No.
So it's an arm's distance transaction. How much do you pay in rent for the house?
$2,100.
How many bedrooms are there?
4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms.
How long have you been living there?
2 years.
Do you have a lease?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to take a look at the lease. Well, you've been living there 2 years, but this lease started in June.
No, that's not our lease. That's her lease. We did not bring our lease.
No, I want to see your lease.
No, we did not. I wasn't aware that we needed that information.
Do
here.
you have a lease?
Yes, we have a lease.
You and your partner share one bedroom?
Yes.
When you moved in 2 years ago, did you have other roommates?
No, it was family members at the time.
Family members who helped pay rent or did not pay rent?
Yes, everyone always paid rent, and it was always split throughout the household.
And what happened to those family members?
They had to move out for, their own personal reasons, so we had an extra bedroom.
And when was that?
This was December of last year.
Is that when you rented to the plaintiff?
No, we had another roommate before her. She was her second roommate.
Okay, so when you rented it to somebody else, when did they move out?
Mid-February.
That was a short tenancy. Any particular reason?
He couldn't afford it anymore.
How much were you charging rent?
$650.
Who rents the other 2 rooms in the house?
One of them is Vanessa Vasquez, my witness.
And Vanessa pays how much rent?
$650 as well.
Who else?
At this point now, we also have one of our close friends renting another room in the house.
For how much?
$650.
And the plaintiff's rent was?
$650.
So your tenants pay $1,950 and your rent is $2,100. So you pay $150 a month rent.
Yes, plus utilities.
Okay. Listen, that's being, you're a business guy and you are 2 people in a room, right? 2 people. You don't pay any extra, do you?
We provide everything for the household.
No. Like what?
Toilet paper, disposables, our dishes, everything there is ours, our furniture.
I understand. I got it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I told her that we would work something out because she said it was urgent for her to get back to her mother because she was sick and she had to take less shifts at work. So she had to move back in to help her with her expenses because she couldn't work as much anymore.
Who are you?
I'm her mother.
What's wrong with you?
Real people. Judge Judy.
Avisa Ilkan says former landlords Anthony Cruz and Luis Jacobo are wrongfully withholding her security deposit. The defendants are countersuing for cleaning fees and additional occupant fees.
You moved in when?
February 25th, 2007.
How much security deposit did you give them?
$250, and I was also expected to pay first and last month's rent when I moved in.
Did you pay last month's rent?
Yes, Your Honor.
$650.
Yes, Your Honor.
$900.
Yes.
You moved out when?
September 1st, 2017.
Did you pay August's rent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did she pay August's rent?
Yes, she did.
She moved out September 1st. Why doesn't she get her security deposit back?
She did not tell me that she was moving out until August 11th, after she had already paid rent for that month.
Great.
Therefore, September
Great.
was her last month.
Where? Show me.
In the contract, it's month to month. She had to give me a 30-day notice.
Does it say that in your lease?
No, it does not, Your Honor. It does not say that if I...
Just a second.
Yes.
You had to give them 30 days notice.
Your Honor, I understand.
That's what it says.
That's correct, Your Honor. However, we had an agreement when I had vacated the premises that since I didn't stay for the month of September, he had agreed to pay me back my month.
Did you agree to that?
I told her that we would work something out because she said it was urgent for her to get back to her mother because she was sick and she had to take less shifts at work, so she had to move back in to help her with her expenses because she couldn't work as much anymore.
Who are you?
I'm her mother.
What's wrong with you?
I was very sick emotionally. I had lost my sister very suddenly, and I couldn't function.
Who do you work for?
I was working for a trauma center.
Tell me the name of the trauma center.
Henry Mayo Newhall Hospital.
Are you still working there?
No, Your Honor.
When did you lose your job?
I quit my job.
When?
August 31st.
Why?
The work hours were very strenuous. I worked 12-hour shifts overnight, and my work was not...
So you moved home?
I had...
So you quit your job and moved home?
Yes, Your Honor.
Great.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
So what you told him was really not true.
No, Your Honor.
Right. What you told him was really not true.
Your Honor, I had agreed to move in back home with my mother before I had ever decided to quit my job.
Is there any reason why she doesn't get her $250 security deposit back?
Because she breached her contract, and it also states that in there.
$250. Now, you have a nonsense counterclaim. Do you want to tell me about it, or you want to remain vertical and we're done with the business?
Well, the counterclaim is for money that she owes for a service that we went over the house rules when she was first there.
You know, I'm getting very bored with this. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $250. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I don't feel that, she was entitled to that money. She did break her contract.
I followed the agreement. I paid extra money for my tenants, and I lived there for 6 months.
There was just a lot that wasn't said, a lot of things that, weren't resolved.
They never had any problems. That should speak for itself. They never asked me to leave.
Lesson learned, don't be nice, don't trust people, don't take them for their word.
They had told me that paying for their